This tutorial will focus on managing the pre-construction and post-construction due diligence checklists. Topics include components of a checklist and viewing checklist items, uploading a file to a checklist item, replacing an existing file, viewing a previous version, and communicating in the portal. Before watching this tutorial, Minnesota Housing recommends you view the Getting Started, Activating Accounts, Logging in and Navigating the Portal, and the Working on an Individual Project tutorial. Portal terminology will be highlighted throughout the tutorial. Refer to Appendix C in the Multifamily Customer Portal User Guide for a complete list of portal terms. A link to the user guide can be found on the bottom of the Projects tab. We will now go to the portal. The Project Phases section of a project page displays a checklist for each phase within a given funding round. Phases capture a self-contained process within the life of a project. For example, pre-construction due diligence and post-construction due diligence are phases that are required for all developments receiving an allocation of 9% housing tax credits or a loan from Minnesota Housing. A Minnesota Housing loan processor will build the pre-construction and post-construction due diligence checklist on your behalf. This tutorial assumes the checklist is already built in the portal. Contact the assigned loan processor or housing development officer for questions about a specific project's checklist or to set up a checklist if it's not yet available. Their contact information will be listed in the project team at the bottom of the project page. Select the appropriate checklist by navigating to the View Checklist column and clicking on the checklist that you wish to view. In this example, click View Pre-Construction Due Diligence Checklist. You will be brought to your customized checklist and see the View Checklist tab. The checklist view displays all of the checklist items required for customers to submit based on the selected project characteristics. The view includes a number of columns. Going from left to right, checklist item. This field displays the names of items required for submission. Upload status. This field indicates whether the user has uploaded, not uploaded, or opted out of checklist items. Note that opted out indicates that this checklist item is not relevant to the project. Only certain checklist items will allow you to opt out of them. For example, the member control agreement can be opted out of if it appears on your checklist. Due date. This field indicates the due date of the checklist item in order to achieve the goal closing date. Note, missing due dates may result in a delay in the closing timeline. Approval status. This field indicates if a checklist item is approved, changes are required, if it's not applicable, or it is ready for review by Minnesota Housing staff. Clicking on a column header, as shown, will change the sort order of the checklist items. You can change the number of checklist items displayed by selecting the Show Entries drop-down list. It defaults to Show All. There is a search function that allows you to search for a particular checklist item. Simply click in the search box and start typing. This search will find matches from any of the fields on the checklist. In the left-hand toolbar, you have different filter options, including filter by subbase, filter by upload status, and filter by approval status. Subbases capture a self-contained process within the life of a phase. For example, credit approval, file to closing, and setting the closing date are subphases within the pre-construction due diligence phase. Filter by upload status allows you to filter what is displayed in the checklist view based on the upload status. Filter by approval status allows you to filter what is displayed in the checklist view based on the approval status. To view a checklist item, select the appropriate hyperlink in the checklist item column. Use the search function to locate a specific item quickly. In this case, you will select the organizational chart. Each checklist item includes the following sections: Project Checklist Item Phase Detail, which highlights basic information about the checklist item, including the name of the checklist item, the required file extension, approval and upload status, links to a document, resource, or website, if available, and whether the item is optional or not. The communication feed is where Minnesota Housing will leave comments or request changes to a checklist item. You can also leave a comment or respond to comments in this space. To hide the communication feed, click Hide Feed. Click Show Feed to view this space again. Help text. Help text is available to assist you in the completion of the required item. It outlines the checklist requirements and/or links to other resources. Files. Upload, download, or preview files associated with the checklist item. Return to checklist. Click the button to return to the phase checklist. To upload a file to a checklist item, under Files, click Upload File. Locate the file or files on your computer and hit Open. You can select and upload more than one file at a time. Once the file has uploaded, select Close. After you uploaded a file to the checklist item for the first time, you will notice a few changes to the checklist item. The upload status has changed to uploaded. The approval status has changed to ready for review. And a new post appears in the communication feed stating the upload status has changed. To replace an existing file with a new version, under Files, click the file name in the title column. From this new screen, users can download, preview, and upload a new version. You can also view version history, add a description, or edit the name of the file by clicking Edit Details. Click Upload New File Version on the upper side of the screen. Navigate to the updated file. Make a note about what has changed. Then click Upload New Version. Note that the name of the file will remain the same as the initial file that was uploaded. To edit the details, click Edit Details, and you can change the name. To view a previous version of the file, select Show All Versions. You can see all the versions uploaded to the portal and notes about the file under the Versions column. Download the previous version of a file by clicking on the green arrow in the Actions column. Click Close when finished. To navigate back to the checklist, click on the name of the item in the Shared With column. You may need to click Show All if the name does not appear in the list. You will be brought back to the checklist item you were working on. Communicating in the portal. Minnesota Housing will automatically be notified when you upload a file or upload a new file version to a checklist item. If Minnesota Housing changes the approval status to Changes Required, the project's primary contact or contacts will receive an email notification stating changes are required and will link you to the checklist item in the portal. Click on the link and review the comments in the communication feed for details on what needs to be changed. You can submit additional comments or questions about this checklist item in the feed here as well. Once you have made the requested changes, upload a new version of the file by following the steps previously discussed. For the pre-construction due diligence checklist, all checklist items must be submitted and approved by Minnesota Housing prior to loan closing, or for tax credit only projects prior to beginning construction. For the post-construction due diligence checklist, all checklist items must be submitted and approved by Minnesota Housing prior to final closeout or end loan closing. For more information, check out our other tutorials. Find Multifamily Customer Portal resources on the quick links at mnhousing.gov. This concludes the Managing the Pre- and Post-Construction Due Diligence Checklist tutorial. Contact mhfa.app@state.mn.us with questions.